Welcome back to my road to completion guide for Dark Souls Remastered. We're now in episode number 7. The first thing that we want to do, guys, is make sure that we kindle this bonfire. You can see that we have 5 Estus flasks in the bottom left hand side of the screen. If we kindle this bonfire, it's going to push our Estus flask count to 10. Very important because we're going to have a boss fight coming up here in a few. And there's actually 2 enemies that you have to fight at the exact same time, but it can be a little bit tricky. Just make sure that you kindle up here. You should have some humanity. You can see in the top left, I have 10 humanity from the previous episode when we farmed the Silver Knights for those items. So just use those to kindle with. For some of you, you may not be human at this point. You should be if you've been following this guide, but if for whatever reason you've died along the way and you're not human, you're gonna have to reverse your hollow first, which is gonna cost you 2 humanity. Right then, I just use 1 to kindle. So if you're not human, reverse hollow first, then kindle, and you'll be good to go. Make sure you kill that knight because he can follow you up these stairs. And then we're gonna take the shortcut. Remember, you can just jump off, hit the platform. I think right there I missed. I had to do it a second time. If you can't get it, I'm gonna show you here in a second the door you need to take to be able to get up here where we are. And you're probably noticing that at this point, guys, that this is post commentary. Typically with these road to completion guides, I would prefer to do live commentary, but for whatever reason, the commentary track I had recorded for this failed. So I'm having to go back in and do some post commentary. There I'm showing you where if you take that bottom door, you'll just come up the stairs there and you'll be where we are. And I think there's one more episode in this series, at least from what I know right now. I still need to go through a lot of the footage that's going to require me to go in and do some post commentary. So we'll see how it goes. I may even just do post commentary for the rest of this if there's a bunch of my commentary that's failed. I have my PC is really good, but for as many programs as I have to run at the same time to do what I do for you guys for these RTCs, it just sucks up all the performance of my PC, and sometimes either my video capture fails or my commentary fails. So sometimes I'm gonna have to go in and do some post work like this. I've even thought about maybe doing post commentary for the future of this RTC series for every game that I cover, just to keep down the technical issues I have, and then I can get content up faster. Right? We'll see how it goes. I'm still looking into troubleshooting all that stuff for the new year. But you can see right there that the first enemy, or I guess both of them, actually kind of got me wrapped up over there behind that first column, but you saw how many shots I was able to take. Now, you're gonna see here in a second that I'm actually gonna quit this fight. When I was doing the live commentary, I wanted this fight to just be me showing you that you can take damage, okay? And kind of the pattern of this room and the enemies, okay? I guess the layout of the room and the pattern of the enemies. So there's 6 columns in this room. There's 3 on the left and 3 on the right. And if you can target the enemies, it doesn't really matter which one you target, whether it's the small guy or the large guy, and just keep backing up around the outside of the room, okay? Always keeping your right hand side against the columns. Notice I'm walking, there's columns on my right. You always want to keep the columns on the right hand side. And what it does is it spaces you out far enough from the enemy that even when you take a few shots, you're able to get away quick enough to heal, okay? And that was one thing I was trying to point out in this first clip, is just, you know, giving you guys a really good idea of how this thing plays out. Notice also that anytime that I heal, I'm healing behind a column. There's me quitting out because I wanted to show you guys a legit, and coming up right now is gonna be the legit way to do it. But notice anytime that I heal, I'm behind a column. Also, anytime that I cast magic, I try to be behind the column, because certain attacks that these enemies do are not going to bother you if you're behind a column. The column will actually block the attack, okay? So that's also something I wanted to point out in that first clip. Now, I only have 4 Estus flasks here. When you guys come into this room the first time, you're going to have 10 Estus flasks. You're going to, you know, like I said, break to the right-hand side. I just got hit there, no problem. Even if they crowd up around you, just take the shots. Don't get flustered, right? Don't get nervous. Just follow the steps that I'm showing you and you guys will be fine. Go to the right hand side, take all their shots, and then again, keep coming around the right hand side across the front steps, keep backing up around the left hand side. Keep your target on them. Notice that I casted magic, but I was kind of behind that column. Now, granted, the guy in front of me, the short guy, had access to my character. You know, he could see me, but the dude on the right didn't. So I was lowering the chances that I was gonna get hit there. Again, just backing up, keeping my distance, keeping my spacing. And see right there, boom, I'm behind the column when I cast that attack. Now, sometimes the bigger guy with the hammer, if his hammer's down in front of him, it's gonna block your attack. You're gonna swear that you hit him, but you're not gonna be doing any damage. That's just because his hammer absorbed your attack. So you're gonna have to make sure that you only attack him when his hammer is up. Now, notice that I'm not attacking the small guy right now, and there's a reason for that. I want to kill the bigger guy first. Now, it's not required, because you are gonna have to play this game on New Game Plus. You're gonna have to fight these enemies again. And you can just kill the opposite one in your New Game Plus. The way that this works is we need to pick up both of these enemy souls, okay? And depending on which one you kill first determines which soul you get. We need their souls to be able to level up weapons and stuff once we get to that part in the run so we can pick up a trophy. So like for instance, I killed the bigger guy first in this game. So when I hit New Game Plus, I'm gonna kill the smaller guy first, right? And if I do that, I'm gonna get access to both their souls, which is perfect. So it's not required that you kill the larger guy there. If it's easier for you to kill the shorter guy, then do it. But I would highly encourage you to just keep going back to the bonfire, loading up your safety save, and coming down here with 10 potions and trying your best to take out the large guy first, okay? Not only is that gonna match up with the gameplay that I'm gonna be showing you in the guide, but I just feel like it's easier to kill this dude, the one that you see on screen right now, in the first game than in New Game Plus. It's just me, right? It may not be objectively true, but for me it is, right? So I would encourage you guys to do the same. Now, I'm actually letting this fight play out a little bit longer than I probably should. I only have one potion. In the live commentary, I was actually talking about how you can get this enemy to basically just keep throwing lightning at you over and over and over again. And what I was trying to do was demonstrate that for you guys. Notice how he has a full health bar. I was trying to show you that it's possible to get him to throw lightning out, and then you can actually bleed all of his health without him ever moving. And if you can get lucky enough to do that, then that's what you want, right? Because it keeps you safe. I think that you'll see it a couple times in here, but I can't quite get him to freeze all the way. But I wanted to show you guys that tactic as well. But like I said, even if you can't get it to work, you just want to keep backing up around. See, like right here, I got him to freeze for a few seconds, but it's possible to get him freeze for the entire fight, right? I think right here he's gonna move. Yeah, see how he moves? So, but like I said, it's possible to get him to freeze the entire fight. But if it doesn't work out for you, if you can't get him to, you know, consecutively throw lightning bolts at you, just keep the strategy alive, right? Keep backing up, stay around the edges of the map. The columns will always block the lightning. And notice right here that my soul spear or my soul arrow did not hit. If the enemy is too far away from you, your soul arrow is not going to hit. You're going to swear that it's hitting him and it should be doing damage, but you do have to kind of be within range for that to hit. I think right now I just go ahead and finish out the fight, because I know I didn't have any potions left. But I think that's going to be enough for you guys to figure out how to get through all this. If you have any questions, you can leave them down below. But like I said, as long as you have 10 Estus flasks when you hit this room, break to the right, okay? No matter what happens, if the short guy hits you, if the large guy hits you, just take the shots, lock on and back up and start working yourself around the outside of this room. If you get super unlucky and they kill you, just go back to your safety save, right? You're right here at the boss fight, head back to the room, and eventually you guys will be able to take these two enemies down. Like I said, try to kill the bigger guy if you can first, then we're gonna take the smaller guy out first in New Game Plus. When you're done, hit the elevator. I'm gonna go up top, and it's not required, you're not required to rest at this bonfire. I think I just did this more or less out of habit, because when I see bonfires, I tend to rest at them. You can actually skip this bonfire and just go straight up the stairs, or rest if you want to. Okay, we'll go upstairs. We're gonna pick up some trophies. We're gonna pick up Lordvessel and another one called Covenant Princess's Guard. What you're gonna do is come here and talk to this NPC, and forward through all the dialogue, and eventually you're going to get a prompt to kneel. And you do have to be quite close to the step to be able to get the prompt. So if you don't see the prompt right away, just move closer to the steps and you'll see it. And when you see the first one, like I said, it's going to tell you to kneel. Go ahead and kneel. You'll pick up Lordvessel, which is an item. I told you guys in a previous episode, at least I think I mentioned it, that we're able to warp in this game from bonfire to bonfire. That's the item that we use to be able to do that with. So there's your trophy. Forward through the dialogue, and then eventually you'll get another prompt, see right there, to kneel. Just make sure you're close to the steps. And then you're going to be able to enter the covenant. Now remember, you don't actually have to enter the covenant, okay? So when given the prompt yes or no, just select no, but you'll still get the trophy, okay? Perfect. We'll head back down to the bonfire. We're going to level up. Now, some of you might have leveled up to 50 in your intelligence in the previous episode when we farmed. I told you guys that you have the option to keep farming there if you wanted to and build up your stats. If you already have 50 intelligence, I think right here we're going to get it up to 48. So you at least want to be at 48 here. But if you're already at 50, or maybe you were at 48 and now you're going to be pushing it to 50, any extra stat points that you have, throw them into vitality. If for whatever reason you've already farmed up all your vitality, put it in endurance. Okay, so that's kind of your hierarchy when it comes to your stats there: intelligence, vitality, and then endurance. When you're done with that, let's go ahead and warp over to Anor Londo. We need souls right now. I think right there I have 4,904. It's kind of a small display, so hopefully that number is correct. But I know that it's at least in the 4,000 range. You want to have 18,000 souls before we get to the next NPC, because we want to be able to buy some spells. So I have this farming route set up right here because this is going to give us an easy 9,000 souls. We've done this before too. Remember, you just take out the ones on the balcony sections with your homing soul mass, and as long as you hit with all 5, you can kill them in one hit, and then you just soul spear the other 2 guys, right? You have plenty of magic for that. That's going to give us a quick 9,000 souls, and then we're going to farm a couple enemies back at Firelink here in a bit. And then there's a few more enemies we have to kill before we fight the next boss fight. And that should be enough to put you guys over the edge. If I remember correctly, I think I had like 21,000 something when I got to the NPC, when I purchased my spells from her. But you only need 18. There's a little bit of wiggle room there to play with in terms of your souls. Boom, there's the soul mass again. Like I said, as long as you hit with all 5, you can kill them in one hit. But again, I apologize for post commentary. I don't think many of you is going to care about it, but if you've been following my channel for a long time, you're probably accustomed to live commentary, so it may be a little bit weird to hear post commentary. Plus, I've had to go through and edit the video quite a bit. Not that I'm editing out any parts of the run, but obviously some stuff doesn't play well when you're doing post commentary, when you recorded it as live commentary. So I've trimmed out a lot of the dead time that I felt like I could not fill up with post commentary for you guys. Again, we're just going to warp to Firelink Shrine here. And then Seigmeyer, you guys remember we've been freeing him along the way. He's been caught in some interesting predicaments. So we freed him from Sin's Fortress, Anor Londo, and now he's here. If you do not see him here, then you've done something incorrectly throughout the guide, and you need to probably well, you're gonna have to, well, I guess you've got 2 options. Well, let me talk about this first. Make sure when he asks you this question that you say yes. If you do not say yes, it's gonna lock you out of getting the spells. Just be careful when you're forwarding through the prompts. Make sure you say yes here. If you do not see him here and you don't have well, you're probably not gonna have a safety save set up before Sin's Fortress. You've got 2 options. You can reset your run. That means you gotta start from scratch. Play back through episodes 1 through 6 and get back to here, and he'll be here for you. Or you can do this on your New Game Plus. See what I mean? You can just repeat the steps that you've seen so far where we freed him from Sin's Fortress and Anor Londo. You can repeat those in New Game Plus and get him to show up here. Once you've got Emit Force, guys, you can go ahead and safety save, by the way. So you'll have to make that choice on your own if you don't see him there. And just like I say, that just means you've done something incorrect in the guide, and you'll need to figure out if you want to reset your run or just pick it up on New Game Plus. Then we're just going to come up here and take these dudes out. There's 6 of them. Again, we're just trying to get a little bit more souls. I think right here I just rest just to get my souls, my soul arrows back. Not necessary. Again, I just do most of this stuff out of habit. You guys remember this? We came down here in, I think, episode 2. Yeah, episode 2 we ran through here and kind of just shielded up around the drakes. We didn't fight them in that episode. We just kind of ran past them. We're going back down there again. Notice here I'm equipping my black fire bombs and my regular fire bombs. You don't have to do it on the elevator, but I just do it because there's dead time here. You can just make sure you equip them before we fight the next boss fight. Take a right, go up the stairs, go through the. You'll know where we are here in a second. You guys remember this? We crossed the bridge and took a left. The undead dragon was up here. We took it out with soul arrows and our regular soul arrows and homing soul arrows. Took it out, picked up some items. And then remember there's some drakes down here. There's 2 of them, and you can kill them here if you want to. Actually, not necessary, especially if you have about 14,000 souls like I have. By the time you get to the NPC, you'll have enough because there's some mandatory enemies we need to kill up here. But you can kill these guys if you want to. I would just suggest you guys throw your shield up and run past them. And I want to say in this clip that I actually get tagged by this first one. In episode 2 when we ran through here, I didn't get hit. But this time around, I think I do get hit. But you'll notice that with the stone armor on, and I think we have 2 pieces of the stone armor on and 2 of the gold hem, you don't die. You just take the shot, right? I think I heal. Yeah, I heal right there anyway, right? So you can just keep moving on. This one right here, it's very hard for him to hit you. He does get close to me there, but it's very rare that he tags you. Then we'll hit the elevator right here. And we're gonna lock in another safety save when we get to this bonfire. Just in case you guys die to the Hydra, or maybe you, because you do have to, we are gonna kill the Hydra with fire bombs. And so just in case you run out of fire bombs and the Hydra's still living, you can just load back up your safety save. So just make sure you safety save right there. You can load back up your file, and then you go down there and have all your fire bombs back, right? And maybe eliminate some of the missed tosses that you had and take them out. You don't need as many fire bombs as we have now. I think I have 40. Yeah, I got 40 total, 35 regular and 5 black fire bombs. And I think when I finish killing this thing, I still have, I want to say 12 or 13 fire bombs left. Okay, it's been a couple days since I've watched this edit, but I want to say I have like 12 or 13. So you see how much of a variance you have there. You can miss quite a bit. And it's one of the reasons why I had you guys buy so many from the merchant in the previous episode, is just to make sure you had enough, and that if you did have a couple of errors here, you would have enough to fix things. And then, so these are the Ice Golems, right? So there's 4 Ice Golems here. I don't know if you just saw that off in the distance, but the Hydra is actually shooting water at you. Okay, now I'm in a pretty good spot now, so it's very hard for the water to hit me. But once you run out to the right here and you start fighting these enemies, you're gonna have to also kind of be dodging the water attacks. Now, it's possible to put yourself, I guess to put the enemy in between you and the water attacks from the Hydra, and you can actually kill the Ice Golems that way, or I don't know if they're Ice Golems or Water Golems, but you can actually kill them that way, right? I wouldn't encourage you guys to do that unless you're pretty comfortable with the game, because the water attacks from the Hydra can be deadly to you even though you have on this armor. I think even I get tagged here a bit. If you get hit by 1 or 2 of them, it's not bad, but there's about, I would say there's 4 or 5 coming at you at once. The Hydra attacking with the water. There's 4 or 5 different water blasts coming at you at one time. If they all hit you, you're gonna die. Okay, so I don't know if you guys want to risk that. Again, you got your safety save up at the previous bonfire, so you know, if you do die, you're still set up, but you have the, you know, you had to go to your dashboard and load back in and all that stuff, and that takes time. So if I were you, I would just kill these enemies with your regular Great Soul arrows. You can see there that it takes about 4 hits to kill each one of them. So you're going to be left with at least 4 Great Soul arrows. Even if you miss, it's fine. You still should have all your homing soul mass and your soul spears, because we do have one more enemy that we have to fight after we kill the Hydra. Right there you saw me look back at the bonfire and wiggle my camera, and that's because in live commentary I was telling you guys that you could go back and rest at the bonfire. If for whatever reason you feel like you've used too much magic or whatever, you can always go back and rest there. Now what I'm showing you here is kind of a safe spot you can stand so that the water doesn't hit you. See the water attacks coming from the Hydra. And I wanted to show you guys the way that the camera works in this game. You know, third person games are different. Sometimes they have a camera that can only go to a certain angle, and sometimes you can rotate the camera straight vertical over your head, right, and look straight up in the air. This game locks you off at that angle, the one that I'm showing you right now on screen. And so when you rotate that thumbstick, that's the angle that you want to be at when we get down here to fight the Hydra. All the way as far as it'll go, you want to be angled in that direction, because we're going to be tossing these fire bombs and we're not going to be able to target the enemy. So we're using our camera angle to get the correct trajectory to be able to hit the Hydra. Now you're not necessarily aiming for the Hydra's face, like all of its heads. It's got a bunch of different heads. You're not aiming for those. You're aiming for its body, okay? Because the body is super wide and it's very hard for you to miss. But you have to be at that angle to be able to throw the firebomb far enough to connect with the body, right? Now, the good thing is that sometimes you are going to hit some of the heads, right? And if you do, it's going to do some good damage for you. And ideally, you want to hit a few heads. Like I think right there, I killed one, or I'm going to kill one here in a second. I think I actually end up killing 3 total, I believe, per this clip. Because the more heads you take off of the Hydra, the less chance it has of hitting you. And like sometimes right then it connected with me, but it didn't hurt me. It just kind of shifted my body around. So the more heads you can kill, the more you're able to just sit here and spam square, right? It just gets the fight done a little bit quicker. But you're not aiming for the heads. You're just aiming for the body. And you're just going to kill heads along the way, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And then boom, you can see that I'm angled all the way up, okay? And all of my tosses are gonna be hitting the Hydra. So if you have like 40 fire bombs here and you run out of fire bombs and the Hydra is still living, your camera angle was not correct, okay? You weren't angled up high enough to be able to throw these things and connect. And you can see right there, boom. So yeah, I have 13 fire bombs left. See that? And the Hydra's dead. So just keep that in mind. If you run out of fire bombs, it's because you didn't have it angled correctly. Again, you want to be angled all the way as high as you possibly can. You'll feel the camera stop. You cannot go any further, and that's the angle that you want. And you can practice that back up the hill there to the right where I was earlier, where the water attacks can't hit you. You can practice that camera angle up there. Now, I think right here I'm just switching over to the gold hem set just because I want to run a little bit quicker. Not necessary. You can keep on what you had. You just might be running slower in the water. There is a fight coming up. I prefer speed over defense, but I'm very comfortable with the game. So if you feel like you need the defense, then just stay on keep some of the stone armor on it, and that'll help you protect you. But we are going to be using the tether method to kill this enemy. So I think you guys will be good with the gold hem set. Now, some of you are not going to see, well, probably many of you are not going to see the enemy off in the distance. I think I've seen a couple of speedrunners play this game and the enemy was off in the distance. I've seen a couple of Let's Plays as well. But just in case you don't see this enemy off in the distance, quit the game, just like you saw me do. Load back in, and the enemy will show up. The game wants you to go back to the previous bonfire or leave the area and then come back down here to have that enemy spawn in. But by quitting and loading, it tricks the game into thinking that you did all that. You see what I mean? And then boom, the enemy shows up. So if you don't see it, just quit and load out. But some of you may get lucky and see it. Like I said, I have seen people on Twitch play the game and the enemy be there. That might have been before some of the patches that came through. I don't know exactly when I was watching, you know, because I didn't watch them play it live. I just watched their VOD of it or whatever. So I think at this stage in the game with all the patches, I think you're gonna all have to quit and load back in. But just in case, I wanted to kind of point that out to you guys. Some of you may end up seeing it in your game. If you see it, just go ahead and kill it. Now what I'm doing here is just backing up. You can see that it has a strong jumping attack, and it can close the distance on you really quick, especially because it moves faster in the water than you do. You have to take that into consideration, right? We're gonna back up and tether. You guys know we've been using that tether method to kill some of these enemies in the game. So we're gonna be using that to our advantage this time around too. Notice that as I back up, the enemy wants to go to the center of the lake. That's gonna let you know that you have it very close to being in that tether mechanic. See, now it's tethering back. I'm just gonna keep getting my shots on. Sometimes it's gonna rotate to the right again. I think here, I want to say it rotates to the right. Yeah, see? And then you know, you're gonna be missing if you fire at that point. So just wait, keep backing up, wait for it to tether again, and then, you know, work your range. You wanna get close enough so that your spells can do damage. Notice that when I fire that spell, I'm just gonna inch up a little bit more, get within range, and boom, take it out. You can see that I still have 8 homing soul mass left. I never use any of my soul spears, and I think I have 13 fire bombs. So you guys should be plenty set up to take out the water golems, the Hydra, and this enemy before you run out of anything that you can use to do damage. And when you see her prompt, make sure that you select yes for her decision. Okay, forward through the prompts, get her to disappear. And now we're gonna run back to the place where we had the encounter with the Hydra. Most of you, again, like I said, I've watched this game played so many times. I've played it so many times, and I think we're at a point where according to the patch, she's always gonna be here. Like, you're always gonna see her summon sign, but just in case you don't see the summon sign, you quit the game and load the game again, just like we did a second ago to get that enemy to show up. Just quit and load. Keep doing that as many times as you need to, and eventually you'll see her summon sign on the ground. Now, it may not always be in front of that rock. I've seen it on the right hand side of the rock. I've seen it by the tree to my left, and I've seen it on the shoreline, right where the lake meets the land. I've seen it there too, but it's gonna be around the rock and the tree. Like I said, just keep quitting and loading, and eventually you'll be able to spawn her in. And now we're gonna buy those spells that we talked about. 18,000 souls. I think I have 21,660, I believe. So I have enough. There's 5 spells: Hidden Body, Cast Light, Repair, Chameleon, and Hidden Weapon. We don't have any of those at the moment. We want to buy every single one of them. That way we don't have to come down here and talk to her again later on. That's just gonna take up time and force us to all have souls again at this particular moment. You know, if we were to have to come back, I'd have to make sure that all you guys had the correct number of souls at that point. So we don't want to have to worry about any of that. That's why I had you guys farm everything up to this point. You should have 18,000+. Buy those. Now we're gonna roll back over here, and there's gonna be a corpse at the end of this area at a dead end, and you're gonna see it here in a second. You didn't see it before, but now it's gonna have a shiny on it. See, it's coming up here in just a second. Right there. If you don't see that for whatever reason, like I said, just quit and load. Keep doing that, and eventually you'll get it to show up. But like I said, most of you should be able to see it because we're on the game has been patched so many times since the first time I played it, way back in the day. We're gonna pick this up. It's gonna give us the antiquated set, which we don't really need for the run, but it is gonna give us the Crown of Dusk. Now, you guys remember in a previous episode I told you there were things we could equip on our character that would allow us to have a boost in our damage when it comes to our sorceries. We got the ring already, our intelligence to 50, that type of thing. The Crown of Dusk also gives us more damage, so you definitely want to make sure you equip that. Then use a Homer Bone, and then we're going to warp to the Undead Parish, and that's going to be enough to close out this episode, guys. Make sure you set up a safety save before you go to the next episode, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed. Sorry for the post commentary. See you in the next one. So I wanted to take a second and tell you guys about my dream. My dream is to wake up every single day and create guides just like the one you just watched here on YouTube full time. Now there's several ways that I can monetize my work in order to make that dream come true. Number one, I could do Google ads. Number two, I could do sponsorships. Number three, I could do endorsements. The only problem with those three options is that I think they're going to degrade the quality of what I'm trying to produce here on Square One Games. Not only that, but I don't want to try to pitch my subscribers something that I don't necessarily believe in, and that's why I've decided to just go the Patreon route. If you want to see more guides like this on YouTube, you also want to have that person that you can go to where you're gonna get an answer to your comments, okay? I've responded to probably 90+% of every comment ever left on my channel, and I've been on YouTube for 6 years. You can go to any one of my videos, look in the comments, and I'm in there. Think of it like customer service, you know? That's exactly what I like to do for my community. So if you guys wanna help get more guides like this up on YouTube, I just need more time to do it, that's it. So hopefully you guys will support me in that if you like this kind of content. Thank you.